Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings with me, Michael Jex, the tea drinking author, with a cup just here. Lovely stuff. Last week I spoke a bit about one of my favourite inks, which is Klingner Sepia, which is a gorgeous golden coloured ink which has splendid shading and looks rather appealing on the page. And it occurred to me while talking about it that actually there's a lot of other types of sepia too, and they don't all look the same. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun just to compare it with something like Rohrer Klingner's Schreibtinte, which is sepia, according to Rohrer Klingner. Here you are. I have to admit, I like these inks. Rohrer Klingner are one of those firms that are not expensive. They're a bit like Diamine, very reasonable prices, and they have a very good variety of inks. They haven't got quite the same number as Diamine, because I think Diamine's up at about 130 different shades and colours now, but they have a good variety. So let's have a look. Now, first of all, I have had some questions about the lever fill on this old Conway Stewart of mine. Not that many questions. I mean, not many of you bother to write in, but some of you do, and it's always fun when you do. And the question I had was, are you sure about the mechanism where I said that you have to close it and then give it time for the ink sac inside to suck up ink? Now there's reasons, logical reasons why that is. If you're using something like, he says, reaching quickly for an example, one of these. This is the Avatar Traveller from Pineda, and with this, when you fill it, as you can see here, as I pull this out, there is an internal plunger. This is a perfect parallel-sided cylinder, and in here there is a one-way valve. Now it's a one-way valve because here it's parallel-sided, but when you get down here to this little clearer area, that is a slight flare. So as you push the plunger down, you're creating a vacuum behind it, around here. And as you can see, because I created a vacuum, it's pushing the thing back out again, because nature despises a vacuum. But if you push it all the way down and listen carefully, you'll hear it sort of spit or suck all of the water and moisture back into the main cylinder. Now it's instantaneous, and that's because you're creating a vacuum, and when the vacuum's released, it will suck all the ink up. Now with this, you've got a nice, simple ink sac, which is made of rubber or silicone or latex or whatever it might be, probably latex in this case, I think. And that means that when you lift the lever up, it squeezes and compresses the latex sac. When you release it, you might have just heard that noise. It's sucking air into that sac. Now, with atmospheric pressure, that's pushing in at all the air holes at the top end of the nib here, so that air can be sucked in. If you're sucking up ink though, or water, ink and water are much more thick than air. for want of a better explanation. So when you release the pressure from the sack, it takes a bit longer to suck stuff up. And it's easy to demonstrate. All you've got to do is show it. So, take the lever up, then push it in here, release it, and I don't know if you would have heard that, but there was a little bit of a as I brought it out. Let's just do it again. So I will once more, and there's just a slight little sound there, but if I put it in the ink, leave it in there for the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No noise. Works fine. So what have we got in here? We now have some Rohrer und Klingner version of sepia. Now, you would imagine stuff with the same name would probably have a similar sort of colour. But you would be mistaken. So we have here a page which has diamine sepia, and down here we've got Rohrer and Klingner. So, what does it look like? Well, here you are. Now this is writing on Tomo River 58 GSM. This up here, the honey-coloured ink, is diamines. This down here is a Rohrer und Klingner. Both sepia, in theory. But the Rohrer und Klingner is much more of a deep dark brown than that sepia. And in fact, if I go back to my file of inks, which is always kept handily close by, and look in here for something that's similar, without ideally hitting the volume control on my computer, I would say that the Rohrer und Klingner is nearest to diamine's deep dark brown, which is this one here, which is itself very similar to Waterman's Havana. Rather dark, but also rather lovely. It has excellent shading, as you can probably see there. It has really good flow. I haven't, as with all Rohrer and Klingners, I've had absolutely no trouble whatsoever with it in any pens of mine. It's been very reliable, it's flowed well, it's looked good when it's been put down on paper. It seems to work very happily on all different types of paper. So if you haven't even thought about it before, I can thoroughly recommend Rohrer und Klingner's Sepia. Very different and really interesting in comparison to either Diamine's Honey or, Diamine's Sepia or KWZ's Honey. Very much darker. Possibly next week I'll have a look at another brown, because I also have Earl Grey tea from those very nice people at Dominant Industries, and Earl Grey tea is much more of a golden yellowish brown again, so possibly a comparison of that with the other ones would be interesting. Anyway, thought it would just be interesting to point out that not all sepias are the same, in the same way as not all blacks are the same, not all greys are the same. It depends on the manufacturer you're looking at as to how they're going to respond on paper. So I hope that was interesting. Do please let me know if you've got any favourite ink colours down below. And apart from that, please don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the alert bell, and then that helps move me up the algorithms and makes me happy. And you like happy authors, don't you? Having said that, I'd better get back to work now because I've got an awful lot to get on with. I've got some marketing stuff to do. I've got to work out how to send out newsletters. I've got to crack on with the next book. What else have I got? Oh, too much to think of. Right, so here, for those of you who like them, is a little bit of two pups playing. And apart from that, I'll speak to you in a week's time. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.